Well, with the ARC fleet assembling in Las Palmas, not only the marina, but the anchorage is getting fairly crowded. It's also a pretty deep anchorage. It's about 30 feet. And so sailing off of the anchor with boats so close by and having to pull in over 100 feet of anchor road and then get sailing and get control of the boat before hitting anything is a bit of a tall order. So I'm going to take advantage of a morning calm here and just scull the boat out, right out to the last row of boats where I'll temporarily anchor before departing across the Atlantic back to the Caribbean. Well, it is November 8th, 2020, and looks like a reasonably good weather forecast. The boat is provisioned, water tanks are full, so this is as good a time as any to weigh anchor and begin the journey back across the Atlantic. As you can see, I have to steer clear of the Spanish Navy, which is out on maneuvers. But she's falling away, and the mainsail's beginning to catch some of the light breeze. I'll go forward and give her the stay, so I'll give her a little more power so we can get moving here. It also happens to be Sunday afternoon, so not only is there the usual amount of commercial traffic, but there's quite a few pleasure craft out and about as well. Binoculars. I can see out here, these guys do have wind. It looks like basically we got here about 5 knots, 7 knots. So that's good. We're not going to get out here and then just have the wind die. Already drawn blood here. Had a long strand of plastic fell around the anchor and I cut myself cutting it loose. Ouch. And still passing more ships here. We're almost out. I'll be happy to be clear of all this congestion. The last one to pass is a cruise ship. There's a couple of them anchored out here. And don't often see cruise ships anchored off. I'm guessing the coronavirus shutdown has got something to do with that. Well, as we get away from the more industrial Las Palmas, Gran Canaria gets a little more scenic. It looks like it gets a little more rainfall too. You can see all the rain in the hills there, and it does look a little darker, like it gets some vegetation. So as the sun settles down in the west, we gradually take our departure from the Canary Islands. Soon it will be nighttime, and the nights are pretty long now. We're well into November. And by tomorrow it will be just back out into the wide open ocean. And it's going to be that way for at least 3 weeks. As we got about 2,600 miles to sail here. So that's another long one. Hopefully this one will be a little easier than the other one though. Well, it's Monday morning, November 9th. And I jibed over initially to avoid one of these ARC Plus boats because we were on a collision course there, and I'm not pinging on AIS. I'm not sure he saw me. So that's all to say that I got kind of close to the lee side. It's not lee shore, it's the lee side of the island of Gran Canaria. And then the winds went light on me, and they're starting to come back in now. But we were becalmed last night for several hours. So we're just kind of sitting here, kind of just floating around. So hopefully we'll pick up, hopefully this wind will hang on to this wind. And it's supposed to get fairly, well, not too brisk, kind of, 15 knots or so once we get out into really open water. So I was also, because I'm close enough, I still have cell data, so I still have internet. And Tropical Storm Eta is now forecast to become a hurricane, and that's west of Florida. And then there's also two other areas in the Atlantic. One just northwest of here, which I'd already saw before I left, that have about a 50% chance of developing into a tropical storm or tropical depression. So, and yeah, this is November 9th, so this is a really active cyclone season. So far, luckily, it doesn't seem like any of it's going to affect us. I'm assuming by the time we get approaching the Caribbean, that's going to be about 3 weeks from now, so who in the world knows what it'll be, but 3 weeks from now will be around December 1st, which is the official end of the hurricane season. So it looks like we'll be all right. We might get more fluky winds toward the end of the week as this next big low pressure, which might possibly take on tropical characteristics, moves to the north of us. So we'll see. Otherwise, it looks like we're going to have fairly pleasant sailing. Kind of light to moderate winds and slight seas. Although we might get some swells from that big low, but we'll see. But right now we just got to get out into clear wind here, because Gran Canaria, and you can see it's a very mountainous island, is really causing a lot of fluky winds. In fact, I think right now we're starting to get a bit of a sea breeze because the wind is kind of west east. The wind is almost, I would say, southeast right now. When they're supposed to be gradient wind is northeast, but the actual wind we have is southeast. So this is all the influence of the big island here. So anyway, we'll see how things progress. Well, that didn't take long. We no sooner get out from under the influence of the big Canary Islands, and we got a solid 20 knots of wind out of the northeast. The boat is rolling, but we're making good speed. So it's back to work on a rocking and rolling boat on the wide ocean with the strong ocean winds in her sails. But the following day the winds get a bit lighter, and so now I'm shaking a reef out of the mainsail. Wax on, wax off. And it gets even lighter, so I decide to hoist the big Yankee on the jib stay. And I haven't raised that sail in a while, so we're dealing with all kinds of tangles here. Ahoy, everybody! It is Wednesday, the 11th of November, Armistice Day, years 2020. And we are at 25 degrees, 7 minutes north, 18 degrees, 45 minutes west. Basically on a southwesterly track from the Canary Islands. And right now we're starting our 4th day at sea. We started off with pleasant enough conditions, but then remember on Monday we got becalmed behind Gran Canaria there. So it took us about 12 hours to get out of those doldrums. And then yesterday the wind came in strong, and Monday night, and it was pretty rough sailing. And so then the winds began to ease last night, and now we got what we got now, which is quite nice. Got about 12, 14 knots. It's picked up a little, maybe about 15 now. Kind of east-northeast. And got one reef in the main and the big Yankee, and she's well balanced. And the other thing is the swells are subsiding, so we're not rocking and rolling as much. So the ride has gotten a lot more pleasant. So I managed to take a bath today, so that felt good. Other than that, we still got we still got almost 2,600 miles to go to the Virgin Islands, so it's still a hell of a long way. So far, the passage so good. On Monday night, as we started to get into those strong winds, there was still a lot of shipping traffic, and also several freighters that were just drifting. They had their lights on, red over red, not under command. And one of them, a chopper, a helicopter, visited and hovered over it. I think he was dropping off a pilot to take the ship, presumably into Tenerife. And this was during the night, and that chopper flew right over me. I was worried I was going to get in his downdraft from his rotors. He had two big bright searchlights, and so that was exciting. But now we're out of. Saw one ship on AIS last night, but now we're pretty much just out in the wide blue ocean, which is a bit of a relief. Anyway, we're still at the very beginning of this very long passage, so we'll check back later and see how we're all doing. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. So as conditions get lighter and easier, I return to some tasks on the boat which I forgot to tackle while I was laying at anchor in Las Palmas. And one is to replace the line that goes to the shock cords. And those are to help to control the tiller, and particularly to prevent the wind vane from oversteering the boat. Just helps to keep the tiller centered. Yet with the shock cord, it still allows it to move, so the wind vane can still steer the boat at the same time. And as the winds get really light, I return to a carpentry project, which is just to re-glue on the stile to that raised panel. It's part of the furniture below. It's a raised panel, so you have rails and stiles. Those are the mahogany, which is framing the panel. And one of the stiles is coming loose, so injecting a little epoxy in there, and then I'm going to have to figure out a way to clamp it. I have a couple of small C-clamps. That's not quite sufficient to hold it. So what I'm going to do is construct a Spanish windlass here. Just wrap a piece of line, short piece of line around the panel, and then twist a wooden stick there to tighten it. And that'll hold it, clamp everything in place. And then I'm just going to take it below and wedge it somewhere safe while the epoxy cures. These light winds are caused by what is now Tropical Storm Theta, which is to the north of me right now. And once that clears, then we're going to get a blast of strong trade winds from the northeast. So we'll just enjoy the pleasant conditions for now and prepare ourselves for what's to come next.